Shalom, everyone. I think we're live. I'm waiting for a moment.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see if I can see us here. It's a little delay, so bear with me, just trying to see. Oh, there we go. Good. Shalom, everyone. You know me, I'm Jason Wilson, and this is my beautiful wife, Nicole. And we're here to, of course, talk about my new book, Battle Cry, Waging and Winning the War Within. And just really excited to see the response thus far. So many people, especially men, are expressing the need to finally have victory over the wars that we fear to face as men, and those are the ones that are internal. I wrote Battle Cry as a follow-up to my book, Cry Like a Man, because in Cry Like a Man, I talk about breaking free from emotional incarceration. And after I was able to break free, the challenge became staying free. And so many men would come up to me saying, man, I love Cry Like a Man, but can you please show me how to do this every day? Like, I love this story, but how did you do it? And so that's what Battle Cry is. And so often, I mean, you know more than anyone, the inner war that I waged, just battling with just depression, and that depression tied to just my father not affirming me, so many tragedies, so much unreleased trauma, and it affected our marriage greatly, and especially parenting as a father. And so, as I share in chapter 1, I was emotionally incarcerated, and I was losing the battle, losing the marriage, and wasn't doing a good job parenting either. But when I sought help, Dr. Tim Bro, he taught me some principles on how to wage this internal war. And the scriptures also talk about this war that is in us between the spirit and the flesh, what God's will is versus what we want to do that conflicts it. And so Battle Cry, this book here covers just everything that I had to overcome and engage with to become the man that I am now, a comprehensive man, a lot more than just being a masculine male. I would love for you to talk as well, because not too many people hear your voice. And I think I can always share what I went through and who I am now. And, but to me, nothing speaks more volumes or validation to anything that a man does than when his wife can be in agreement with it, because other than that, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say I'm so proud of you, right, Jay? I've seen it, I've heard it. The 3 o'clock in the morning get ups, the 5 o'clock in the mornings to write, and trying to balance and juggle all of your other responsibilities to get this work out of you. It was a laboring process, literally, a birthing process. But writing the book was a birthing process. The journey has been the laboring process. It's been a journey for you, and I think that men and women will see that journey, and they'll be able to find themselves in your journey. It's something for everyone in this book, and of course, while Battle Cry is meant, the purpose of it is to free men from the emotional incarceration that has them losing in marriage, losing at work, losing in parenting, because they aren't free to express who they really are inside, like who they really are. I truly believe that people are inherently good people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the baggage, the fears, the insecurities, the trauma, the pain.
Intergenerational trauma,
right?
and also the bad things that our parents teach us. And first we forgot to thank Premier Collectibles.
Oh, we
and
absolutely, and we absolutely have to thank Premier Collectibles for hosting this live signing event. And Jason will be signing his books
here
throughout our live time with you guys today.
And if you haven't gotten one, you can still order one at premiercollectibles.com/battle cry.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So also,
and the link is in the description, you guys.
Right.
If you want to order from Premier Collectibles a signed copy of Battle Cry, you have access to that now.
Yes. And so here I got my iPad here and I'm seeing the comments. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hey, everybody.
Henry, Steve, Nichelle, Sean Dove, my man.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, Cameron, Coletta, Henry, and Henry said that the journey is real. It's very real. And I often tell men, because they think, as I share in here, it's not like you actually reach a place of perfection or like you have arrived.
Yeah.
It's a constant journey. It's a constant evolving into this new being each step every day. And even just before now, I mean, this morning, our son wakes us up at 2 a.m, 3 a.m. with chest pains. And as a parent, you're like, whoa, that's where the heart is. And we could feel it. And so, everyone, my publisher, thank you, Nelson, Rachel, Sarah, Karen, my agent, Chris, everyone, Brigida, pray I'm not forgetting anyone, but they were like, you can postpone this for the day, take care of your family. And thankfully, Jason, all of his tests came back negative. But I share all of that because, Nicole is resting, and every good man, you don't want your wife working as hard as you. It's just not, it's not my desire. I tell you that. And so, there's lights and everything in here and computers, and I had to set all of that up. She would have helped me, but I jumped to the task, and I had to put away, brothers, the emotions of frustration, feeling alone, overwhelmed, and thinking about my son, because I had to walk in this moment, be in this moment. And so when we allow trauma, which is pretty much what I'm addressing throughout this book, when we allow trauma to time travel, it's truly impossible for us to live in the moment and to love in the moment. Like right before this, I love being transparent. Okay. I was frustrated, I prayed a lot, Yahuwah, this is ridiculous. I got to do all this by myself, right? And so as husbands, we tend to start finger pointing, and maybe as wives too. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely, we do.
But right now, after me and Nicole prayed, I was able to put away, and I teach you what's called shalak in Battle Cry, how to cast away your cares so that you can be fully present in the moment. And because right now, I want to be the best version of myself for you guys. And as I'm talking, all of those emotions are gone. I'm looking into your eyes. I see the woman you are, you love me. And just so much is just, my heart and my mind is open to really see beyond those emotions I felt prior. And so that's the benefit. I'm gonna start signing before I don't get to all of them, but that's the benefit of being able to wage and win the war within. And as I open this first page, because this is the page I signed, I don't know if you can really see it, you can't. But the dedication, it says, to every man who is tired of not living, don't give up. And so what I've discovered is that many of us as men, we're not tired of living, we're tired of not living.
Right.
We're tired of not living the lives that we long for and expressing who we are comprehensively. As men, we've been confined to the masculine umbrella of emotions, strength, boldness, or attributes, aggression. And so, but what about when we feel nurturing love? My father and men of his generation, they said, I love you through their protection and provision. But when a man starts seeing his mortality, he starts becoming more sensitive or more aware that, wait a minute, I'm more than just a masculine male. I'm not going to be here too much longer. I need to live from my heart instead of my fears. And so to be able to give that to young men, and especially in the cave of Adullam, we train our boys there to have that at their age. The process, the whole thing with Shalak meditation, which I created, is to reflect, release, then you can reset and rest. So when you can teach a young boy this, when he becomes a man, he won't walk around with a broken boy inside. I would just, I guess, I know we have some questions we need to get to.
Yeah, we do. We have some questions.
But I want to ask you something. So a lot of times, and I don't know if this is one of the questions, so I want to, you know what I'm about to add? Okay. All right, well, cool. All right. Well, let me see.
That's 28 years of marriage right there.
Hey, Kimberly, Steve, and Paul, and Brian, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we do have some questions from folks who've already purchased the book and want to get some insight, right, into your process for Battle Cry. So our first question is from Letitia. She's out of Lakewood, California. And she asks, what gave you the courage, Jason, to write this book?
Her name is Letitia. Letitia, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't courage. It was, I was fed up. It was, I felt that it was not only my calling, but my responsibility to share with men what the Most High has given me to help me become a comprehensive man. And so I would say it wasn't courage, it was love. You know, a lot of times we'll say courage, but there is no courage without love. Yeah. You know, you have to have love for something to go through something dangerous to save it.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, so that's what that was.
Yeah. Okay. So Quincy is out of Queens, New York, and he asked you, how do I build strong relationships with other men? It's very hard for me to connect with like-minded men. And you talk about that in your book, the importance of camaraderie.
His name is, what is his name again? Quincy. Brother, I went through that for many years, and what I've discovered, it's only a small circle, like a Cheerio. It's really small.
That's really small.
It's very small. And you have to continue seeking it, brother. I mean, I have a small circle, and then outside of that circle, it's another circle. Then there's another circle. So you may not find, but maybe 3 men who are like-minded, like you, or like-minded, or whatever you're passionate about, or where your convictions are. Or you may find 1. Is that good enough for you? And, the Bible talks about a companion of many will suffer harm. And so, but there's one who sticks closer than a brother. And so it's cool to have a big camaraderie. I love it, especially when you can get a group of men in one space. But to truly find someone like-minded like you, it may not be a lot of them. I like talking about Chris, who's my assistant in the Cave of Adullam. He's young, but very responsible. And so there's not too many men. I think Chris was 27 now? 28. It's not, I'm gonna go back when he was 25. There weren't too many men like him. It just wasn't. And he struggled with the same thing you're talking about. So what I would suggest is for you to, find that one. Right. And he's there, and he's looking for someone like you to help sharpen his sword. Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
That's good. Now we have a question here from RG. And RG's out of Staten Island, New York. And he talks about his ex-wife. So he says he's still deeply in love with her. She's seeing someone now, and she wants to marry this person. It's only been a few months. She's pushing for this new man in her life to be actively involved in their son's life. And he admits that he knows that he didn't do his part and that he could have, let his fear of failure hold him back in their relationship, but doesn't know what to do now, how to process this situation. What would you say to RG?
Well, I mean, I would suggest him what I did, even though I didn't lose you in the family when we were considering separation. I'm thinking it's over. I would seek someone professional to help me work through that. To me, psychotherapy is, in my opinion, the best route for that. So you need to find out what caused you to have such a fear of failure that you couldn't do what you felt was needed to maintain your marriage. And I would that's where I would start. So you can uproot those issues that you've probably just swept under the rug. Because if you don't get those up, you'll constantly trip over that lump in that rug. And, no matter who you meet, wherever whatever you're trying to do, those issues will always be there. So to unearth those, I strongly suggest seeing a psychotherapist. That's what helped me, or a counselor, man, just someone who's experienced and trained to help you resolve the trauma, emotional pain, or mental anguish, whatever you're dealing with. You have to have someone to talk to. You don't want to be alone and suffer in silence. That's what I would suggest for him.
So I want to take a look at the comments in the live section, Jason. I think there's a question from Steve.
Yeah, Steve Gruber. What's up, my brother? How you doing? Any advice for a 40-year-old man who just went through a divorce and has their mother blame the divorce and has their mother blame the divorce on them? Wow. So of course, we're married, and I'm real cautious speaking on things, Steve, that I haven't been through, but one thing I can identify with is pain and hurt. So the one thing I would suggest for you, man, is the same thing I just suggested for the previous question. Find someone you can trust, reputable and professional, that you can sit and talk to, so that you can cast some of these cares and get this off of your chest. If not, man, it's going to wear you down like it did me. In the second half, my brother, you say, your mother is blaming the divorce on you. That's tough. I do know that, even though we weren't divorced, but my mother would blame me if I would mess up anything. I mean, and so that hurts. And that's, especially, I don't know if Steve, if you had any other situations with mom where she says things to you that are demeaning, hurtful, you'll never be this, things like that, those type of pronouncements. So when you experience such a devastating event like divorce, and to hear the first love of your life, your mother, blame you for it or condemn you for it, that's heavyweight, brother. And so again, first of all, I commend you for your courageous transparency, for just posting that live like that. That's the beginning, man. You're able to start that journey once you don't mind sharing who you really are and what you're really feeling. After that, you need to find someone that you can trust, that you can talk to get some advice and how to even get enough healing from this situation where you can go to your mother and tell her, hey, Ma, more so than disappointing me, it hurts me to hear you blame me for something like the divorce of my marriage. Do you agree? What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so with my mom, we were able to reconcile some things, even though she was experiencing dementia. She would say things to hurt me, and it wasn't her. It was the state of mind, the fear, the paranoia, feeling that she, was sort of like what, not schizophrenia, but just, it was almost like a split personality, and it hurt Steve a lot. And I had to forgive her. And even when she was in her right mind, my man, I would try to find the opportunity, that moment of clarity,
Right.
where I can say, hey, Mom, you know, it hurt when we went through that yesterday. And she'd be like, really, what happened?
Right.
And
Because
I
a
said,
lot of times
yeah,
you may not even know. The other
yes,
person may not even know
that's, yep.
of how their words
Mhm.
can affect you. And as a mother, one thing that I can say is a mother's heart is uh, it has much depth to it.
Mhm.
And so when your children, they can be 2 or they can be 52, and they come to you expressing hurt, we automatically want to mend. And so it may be a great opportunity for you to express and be
That's good.
vulnerable and emotionally transparent.
Yeah, and Mom may not know. And lastly, Steve, and I share this one day when Mom was, this is the first time I had to take her to um, Botsford, what do they call it? A psych floor. So imagine taking your mom to get a psych evaluation, and it's a lockdown floor at a hospital in your city. And so I was overwhelmed with emotions, and I was nowhere near the man I am now. I wasn't comprehensive. I still was trying to push my way through this pain that I was experiencing. And she was sitting on the bed. I never forgot it. I was hurting so bad, and I heard, the Holy Spirit say, Jason, it's okay to cry in front of her. Because I'm trying to be strong, Steve, so that she can hold it together. But what she needed to see was for me to cry.
Right.
And when I started crying, she was laying down in the bed. I started crying and she sat up. What's wrong? What's wrong? And turned around, got her feet on the ground and hugged me.
That total transparency. She became
the mother instinct kicked right in.
Kicked
and
in,
she said,
and total clarity at that point. It just kind of
kicked in.
kicked
and she says, I won't be in here long. I'm sorry. I didn't want you to be hurt. And I told her, I'm sorry. And she just said, it's okay. So I say all that, Steve, is that, like Nicole is saying, your mom may not know the power of her words in your life. And then you just shared that your dad was disabled since you were 6 months old. There's a lot of pain there, my man, and you need to, I strongly suggest that you get with someone to talk to, and then go to Mom one-on-one and share your heart with Mom.
Yep, and release and heal. So I want to give a quick thanks to all of
people who are buying
copies and have started reading Battle Cry, and just so much appreciation for the support, and just that healing is going to be taking place all over this country from reading this book. So we got a couple more questions, Jason, as you continue signing your books. Just want to let everyone know who's on the live with us that they still may have an opportunity to get signed copies that are available at premiercollectibles.com /battlecry. And the link is in the description. So we have a question from Tracy in Dallas, Texas. And she wants to thank you for writing the book, Jay. And she's giving it to her brother. But her question is, are there any lessons in this book for women? And so that was along the lines of what you were.
That's not what I was about to add. So that you're trying to be, see, that's 20 something years of marriage. So that's,
well, what were you going to ask? Because I'm sure it was going to be similar.
So she wanted to know something about how Battle Cry can help women, right?
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you, Miss Prophetess, is women want to know, what did it take for you to make me feel comfortable being vulnerable around you?
Isn't that about women?
No, it's not. But she's talking about, can Battle Cry help her? And that question is about how, like, I don't really talk about, I don't share a lot what you had to do, because you had to unlearn what you've been conditioned to believe a man is as well, same way I had to. So I guess we can answer that one.
I'll answer both.
Great.
Now,
That's
as
signing.
far as this on sign,
I think, make sure we put it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I had to unlearn a lot because it was foreign to me to see men be emotional and vulnerable. And I didn't know really how to process that and give you your freedom in that initially. There was an incident, and I remember it vividly, and I know you remember it vividly. And we got into an argument. We were in the car, we were somewhere, and I don't even remember what it was about. But you said, you made a comment to me about being emotional. And I said, you one of the most emotional men that I know. Yeah. But I said it in a very negative way. Like, if I could have been like, you a punk. That's how you took it. And it affected you so much. And honestly, I didn't even know why it affected you so much until
I know
later.
Exactly where we were. We were at Kroger's.
We were at Kroger's.
Yeah. Oh that. Yeah.
But,
that
I don't even remember how
that made me mad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But but I had to unlearn that. I'd never seen I don't think I ever saw my dad cry. I may have maybe once, and it was in a really extreme adverse situation that maybe he was in. But I didn't see it from men, my uncles, my grandfather, my father, right? I hadn't seen it. And so first of all, I had to give you the freedom to be that, and the support, the open arms, right? To be that. I had to learn quickly that I had, as women, as wives and sisters and daughters, and we actually have a unique gifting as nurturers to be able to pull this off, to be able to be supportive and allow for the men in our lives to be vulnerable and transparent with us and creating a safe space for that. So I had to create a safe space, an open space for you to
and you like apologize for that.
I did, and I should have. That was whack.
It was. It was very whack. Yeah.
So
I was about to go back hardcore, but I knew. So when that happens, the worst thing you can do is go backwards. So you're not changing. This is a mistake we make as men and husbands. It's a good thing to change for your family and your wife, but if the only reason you're changing for them is for them, when they appear not to appreciate it, you're going to become resentful and angry. Then you're going to go back to what you used to. You don't appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do.
That's so true.
So this transformation, gentlemen, is for us. It's for you.
Yeah.
Do it for yourself. Your family will, as a byproduct, they will be blessed by this new man.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And to Tracy's, back to Tracy's question, what are lessons in the book for women? Honestly, Tracy, all of the lessons could be applicable for women. And Jason, you often talk about how, we paint these lines between masculine and female, and but we're all just human. And so I have what would be called masculine traits. Many women have what would be called masculine traits, and men have what would be branded or labeled as feminine traits. It's no such thing. We're just human. And so the principles in Battle Cry, it can roll over to women as well, and how we deal with and our emotions. We have anger, we have fear, we have trauma.
The same emotions,
right?
Yeah.
But in addition to that, for women, being able to get a bird's eye view of what men deal with, and how we can take those lessons that are in Jason's journey, that are more than likely in your father's journey or your brother's journey or your husband's journey, and get a bird's eye view of that so that we may better be able to relate, have sympathy and empathy, and learn get a little insight into what me and even me and your journey was, Jason, as a married couple, your journey as a father, right, and parenting, our children. I think that it really gives some phenomenal insight for women.
So let's, like in the book, so one of the chapters is called Combat Communication. How to communicate with each other when you're going through, I guess, an intense situation, not even just marriage, but in your workplace, wherever. But in the intro, I tell a story about the one time we got in a heated argument in the basement, and both of us were communicating poorly. I say maybe we can read this real quick. For decades, I was a slave to my erratic emotions. Instead of calmly articulating my feelings regarding an offense, I would yell in order to hide that I had been hurt. In the early years of our marriage, my wife, Nicole, and I often got into heated arguments. One afternoon, my emotional instability triggered a strong reaction in me. Our daughter, Alexis, 11 at the time, was upstairs watching television while Nicole and I were in the basement. As our arguing intensified, I walked away to escape Nicole's quick-witted responses. And they were
quick-witted.
Yeah, quick-witted. It should be quick-witted. Quick-witted, not witted, but wit it. But to no avail, she followed me into the laundry room. I yelled, "Why don't you just let me be the man and follow my lead?" With her hands on her hips, Nicole sharply responded,
"Why don't you lead like one?"
So you see, I got mad just in that moment. I felt that. So it's just, you'd be like, what? And so I said, because I love Nicole deeply, her words hit me as if she had taken a hammer to my chest and shattered my heart. But my ego would not allow me to express the emotional pain I felt. So I stomped up the stairs and punched a hole in the wall. Here come Nicole again. Nicole uttered sarcastically,
"Wow, that's great."
Enraged at her response, I shouted, "I'll punch holes in all these expletive beep walls." Within seconds, I had punched 5 holes in the stairwell walls. And when I reached the top of the stairs, I saw Alexis. How old was she? 6 maybe at the time?
About 6 or 7.
I think so. I wrote it in, and she was crying. And I don't know about you, brothers, it's nothing worse than when your actions hurt those you love. And when I saw her, she was saying, "Stop it, stop it." That's what she was saying. Man, that's trauma. I knew I had messed up. I knew I had lost control of my emotions. And, we apologized to each other after I decompressed and you decompressed. But the peace in our home was, like I said, was brief, because we didn't dig up the real reason why we got into that argument and why we couldn't communicate. In combat communication, we teach you that it's best to listen first and not with expectation, to know each other's intent.
Right.
And that's what I talk about here as well. Even with little Jason, when parenting, when he had, I got home late from work, hungry, and he already had eaten dinner with you, and we had Amish wings, which are significantly smaller than Church's chicken wings. And
we don't eat Church's chicken.
I know, I'm just saying, but just to give context what a typical wing looks like, Amish wings are like You need about 50 of them to be full. But anyway, little Jay ate the wing and I was upset. And the old me, the father Alexis had, I would have yelled at him demonstrably. But I let him know how I felt as I had to discipline him verbally. But while I was disciplining him, my heart was forgiving his action. And we were able to reset immediately and watch the game. And so as a mother, you can use the same tools with your children and your husband. So
yeah, and just to piggyback on that, Jason, what women can get out of it, as well as men. And honestly, Jay, what I've learned from you, is this journey that you'll see in Battle Cry. It's all about recovery, right? Yeah. All about recovery. Before we got on here, it was tense. Like you're tired and you frustrated, like I'm doing all this by myself, and you've been like grinding out.
Been working hard.
I know, but really, you haven't meant to grind, but you have been grinding, Jason.
Yeah,
and it's wearing, right? Because you're just human, and so but we had to recover.
But grinding, I want to just be clear, because grinding in the definition, in the dictionary about wearing out and wearing down. When I say grinding, I tell men, like when we say grind, we look at sleep as. So I just want to be clear, because I don't want people to think, when I you can feel, I'm just saying it, just like hard work. Sometimes you have to work hard.
I get it.
But I still get my 7 hours of sleep. Even if I get up at 5 in the morning, I try to take a power nap. But I do get what you're saying. Just the frustration and hard work is just like, man, another day of this. And so go ahead, what you were saying.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying as far as the grinding, because it's something that you actually talk about. Like it's not something that you want to hold in high esteem, right?
Or even do, because like hard work is great. Like, if you want to be successful and accomplished, like what we did with the union, that's hard work. Like, and some people would categorize it as grinding, and I get that, but I like being real specific with my definitions, because grinding, and the other definition, is to wear down, to torment, to oppress. And I don't ever want to walk around looking like I'm wore out. You feel what I mean? And so, but yeah, I get it. And I was there before. I was just frustrated, like, man, even Lauren, who's with Premier Collectibles, everyone's like, you sure you want to do it? We can always postpone it. But I wanted to just go through with it. And I know there'll be time after this to rest and reflect and release. But go ahead.
Very good. Again, acknowledging everybody who's with us live. Thank you so much. I think that is Felicia Hudson. Thank you so much for purchasing the book for your son. I pray that he's blessed by it. You may still have opportunities to get a signed copy of Battle Cry, available at premiercollectibles.com /Battle Cry, and the link is in the description. And so actually piggybacking, right, Jason, off of what you were just talking about, Michael from St. Louis, who purchased your book, he wants to know, as I think everybody wants to know, how you get inner peace. I mean, how does that happen? It seems, and if we look around, that it's unobtainable, but it's not. And so how do you grasp your inner peace?
It's interesting. You can't see it that far. I don't want to zoom in, but I just wrote, for some of these, I'm writing messages in, and this says, peace has to be in us before it's around us. And so for me to maintain or to have inner peace, it comes through prayer and shalak meditation, being able to reflect, release, reset, so that I can rest. Chapter 3, I talk about think it's called, putting peace in perspective. So often we think peace is a place, and we've been conditioned to believe that is the case. And as long as we think peace is a place, you can't have it in you, because you think you have to go somewhere to have it. So subconsciously, you're telling your mind, oh, I can't have peace in this environment or when this happens.
And then that's escapism, right? You have to escape yourself to get peace.
Yeah, and you realize when you're on vacation, let something go wrong. Everything on vacation's ruined. But the real issue is that you're not settled inside. And, you stay transparent to how I felt prior. I had to pray, and to release it. I couldn't talk to you the way I am now prior to this, but that's why I stay transparent, so that men don't think I have arrived. It's still a journey. I wage and win this war daily. Within, like, daily, every
sometimes
moment.
hourly.
Yeah, I have to fight, man. And so what I started on, again, my martial arts training helped me tremendously, because one of my instructors made us meditate while fighting, like to stay in a peaceful state while punches are coming at you. First thing your mind is saying, protect me, stop. And that's the first rule of the mind, is to protect you. The problem is, if you follow that all the time, it's not the best advice per se, because it'll tell you to run when you need to be fighting, or fighting when you need to be running. And so in battle cry, I teach you, like with Shalak meditation, you want to, like, you'll see people, brother, they'll meditate with their legs folded and they'll be like this. And what good is that for me when I'm in a stressful situation outside? I can't, if some conflict is arising, I can't just say, hold on a minute, slow down with this beef for a moment, hold on. I can't do that, okay? So I need to be able to, in that moment, if there's conflict or I'm dealing with the kid who's really going through episodes, I have to be able to release everything that was just on me so that I can help him in that moment.
That's good.
And that comes with practicing Shalak meditation, being able to sit still with your own thoughts, be able to release the negative ones before they become toxic. And that's something you learn to do all day, every day. And I'm doing it now. Even the subconscious, like, man, you said medication. Why did you, that's what's going on, man. Everybody, I'm like, man, what is he talking about? But you got to let go of that. And I also talk in here about letting go of the blow and fighting. If she was to hit me, I can't stay with the fact that you hit me, because you're going to keep hitting me if I keep thinking about, oh my God, he or she just hit me.
Right.
I have to be able to say, okay, cool, that happened. Let that go so that I can defend with the other weapons or blows that are coming my way. So to answer your question, for me, it's Shalak medication. Shalak meditation and prayer. And then being able to be okay with sitting with my thoughts. That helps me in a major way. And so that's what I would suggest for you. It's just most men and women who have a hard time holding on to peace, they want to control life and control situations.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I guess.
I think he's talking to me.
But yeah, that's all of us. We want things to be steady. And I give the example of Yeshua or Jesus when he was in a boat in the midst of the storm. He was asleep in the storm. He didn't allow what was shaking the boat to shake him. And that's what we tend to do. And once you practice that, brother, you'll start catching yourself, man, that usually would make me upset. Man, I usually would be nervous right now when that happened. No, I'm good, because you learn how to shalak in every moment instead of just when you're sitting down. So
that's good. Yeah. That's good, Jack. We'll read a few more questions as you finish up signing.
What's up to my boy Shaka Senghor? He just checked in.
Shaka.
Yeah, that's my boy. Can't wait to read his new book too.
Toya in Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
asks, what is the most inspirational quote that you live by?
Most inspirational quote that I live by. I don't have one, I don't think. Not that I live by, but I would say be what I didn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Live for what I longed for instead
Yes,
of what I
absolutely.
lacked. And he that endures to the end shall be saved. I got tons of them. Proverbs 16:32. He who rules his spirit is mightier than one that can capture a city. Yeah, so it's a lot of them. So it's all of those are pretty much
your
mean
mantras.
the same. Yeah. So yeah,
sure.
that's a good question.
Yeah. This is a good question. All of these are good questions. But Tristan from Baltimore, Maryland, who purchased Battle Cry.
What does it say? What does it say? Sorry, we're having trouble.
I don't know. Can anyone?
Yeah, can someone
put in comments if they can still see and hear us?
Can someone just?
Okay.
All right, good. It's just frozen. Let me hit. Go ahead. What's the next question, Nicole?
The next question is from Tristan in Baltimore, and they ask, at this time in your life, how do you deal with or allow other people's opinions about you affect you? This is one of my daily struggles. And this is, I think this is just a great question because it's kind of universal.
I remember that one time I was talking to the young kid at the Lions camp, and he had the similar situation. He was being verbally bullied.
Yeah.
And what I had to learn, what's her name?
Tristan.
That could be a guy too, huh?
Yeah. Could be.
I learned that the words that people would say about me that were hurtful or just demeaning or whatever, when I believed them, that's when it hurt or affected me. But once I got to the place where I knew who I was and would affirm myself daily and know what I'm called to do, I would, certain things wouldn't shake me or hit me. Now, there are times when I would say with you, people who are close to you would say things to hurt you, maybe not even intentionally. The way I have to push past it, man, it's the same thing I teach in here, to shalak it, cast it away, because if you hold it, it's going to hurt you. It's a blow. The same way I just said, if you get hit, you got to let go of the blow because other ones are coming. Right. And then in I think it's chapter 4, called Purging Passivity. So once you're able to deflect or evade or just let go of what they're saying about you, as a man, you need to confront the issue head on. And that's what I do. I used to let people say little slick stuff, especially when I first gave my life to Yeshua. I thought being a follower of Christ, I had to be this super nice and tolerant guy, almost docile. And I would allow certain brothers to be saying little slick stuff because they was jealous of me or whatever. I stopped that. So, if you got something to say, hey man, what's up? Instead of me leaving with them saying something that's offensive, I said, hey, my man, how did you mean that? I'm feeling like you meant that to me, this in a certain way. Can you please clarify so that, I can be clear on how you meant that? And of course, there, all that stuff, sounding like a mumble rapper, but you want to be able to stand up for yourself at some point. You don't want to just, again, you got to let go of the blow, but you got to do something about the other ones that are coming. Right. So you just don't want to just accept it and sit there. Right. You want to be able to, again, verbally process what's bothering you. Don't act in aggression, be assertive, have a calculated action ready so that you will always stay in the best position.
That's good. Yep, that's good. And so we've got one more question before we close out for the evening.
Okay.
Again, thank you everybody that's watching live with us, and we just appreciate you all so much for your prayers, your love, your support, and my hope, Jason, is that the work that you've done, it'll pour out. It'll pour out, and God will get glory from it, and that men's lives will be changed, and thus families will be changed, marriages will be changed, father and daughter relationships will be changed. And so thank you guys for watching. Now, this last question is pretty cool. I actually look forward to hearing your response. Hope out of Los Angeles, out of Cali. She says, what haven't you done yet that you hope to do?
Do nothing.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I hope to one day to not have to do anything. That's the one thing I want to do.
Good. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to acknowledge this one I see here from Ashley Brock. She says, my brother hung himself and my sister killed herself due to bullying by people. So that's heavyweight. Again, we were just talking about that. And so Ashley, I'll be praying for you. I'm gonna pray for you tonight. I don't know if you read Cry Like a Man. I've had some significant losses myself, and they were tragic. I pray that, consider getting this book, Battle Cry, and of course, Cry Like a Man as well, because I want to make sure that you're able to release this, and you never really get over it. You learn how to live with it. But when you're able to release as much trauma as possible, the pain that came with those two significant losses, you're able to live life a little better. So I'm sorry to hear that. That is truly tragic. But again, this is one of the reasons. Another reason I wrote Battle Cry, because men, although your brother's suicide was due to bullying, men, we die by suicide 3 to 4 times as likely as women. And many psychotherapists believe it's because we don't talk. We hold it in. And that one day comes when we say to ourselves, I don't see a purpose in living anymore. And like I said in the beginning, it's not that we don't want to live. We're tired of not living. And as long as we suppress our emotions, bottle things up, we'll never truly be able to live from our hearts. We'll always operate in fear of what someone would say, fear of how we'll be perceived, instead of just living and being human and being good. Yeah. So again, thank you all for your time. Again, I'm gonna sign the rest of these books, and if you would like a signed copy, go to premiercollectibles.com. Thank you, Lauren.
/Battle Cry.
/Battle Cry. Thank you, Lauren, for everything. Thank you to my publisher, Nelson, just everyone there. Thank you. And we're going to sign off.
Yeah, we're going to sign off. Thanks, you guys, for hanging
I'll
out with us.
do one thing. If someone has a question, we can answer. I just want to, it'll be an hour and about 3 minutes. Charles Pryor says, thanks very much for all of your efforts. I'm raising a 7-year-old and I'm teaching him to focus on solving the problem and the distraction after watching one of your videos. Thanks very much. Awesome. Great. Shannon, that's exactly it. We're tired of not living. Amen, brother. Okay, I guess that's it. Good. So thank you guys for everything. Have a blessed evening, and I keep it on my page so you can watch it. And I hope, especially the feedback from Nicole will help the women who follow me on Facebook to really get insight into what you had to do to usher me or help me walk into comprehensive manhood. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Yeah.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.